The best part about watching my supervisor panic wasn't the money, though that $265,000 offer didn't hurt. It wasn't even seeing her scramble to explain to the board why 7 major clients walked out in 5 weeks. The best part was knowing she'd brought it all on herself when she hit that delete button in front of 28 people. My name is Scott Anderson. I'm 49 years old, and 3 months ago I watched what I thought was my career get destroyed in about 30 seconds. Turns out it was actually the beginning of the most satisfying comeback story you'll ever hear. But let me back up because this whole thing started way before Jennifer Walsh decided to torch my work in that conference room. And trust me, you need the whole story to understand just how perfectly everything fell apart for her. 18 months ago, I took a job at Apex Industrial Solutions as Senior Operations Analyst. Look, I've been working in manufacturing for 24 years. Started on the assembly line right out of high school at a Ford plant in Detroit. Worked my way up through quality control, maintenance supervisor, plant engineering, the whole 9 yards. So when I saw this consulting job posting, I figured it would be easy money. Help some industrial clients optimize their processes, maybe share some hard-earned wisdom, clock out at 5 p.m. for once instead of pulling overtime every weekend. My wife Linda was excited about the change. After 2 decades of shift work and plant shutdowns, a consulting gig seemed like the stability we needed. Our son Ryan was starting his senior year, looking at colleges, and our daughter Michelle was hitting high school. The timing felt right. What they didn't mention in the job interview was that Apex was hemorrhaging clients faster than a busted hydraulic line. The guy before me lasted exactly 7 months before walking out. No notice, no transition, no documentation, just gone. And my new supervisor, Jennifer Walsh, made it crystal clear from day one that she blamed operations people like me for the company's problems. Jennifer was one of those MBA types who thought business was all about the numbers on spreadsheets. You know the kind. Never worked a day in actual manufacturing, but could talk your ear off about efficiency metrics and key performance indicators. She had one of those corner offices with motivational posters about synergy and paradigm shifts. The idea that industrial clients might want to work with someone who actually understood their day-to-day challenges was completely foreign to her theoretical approach to everything. Here's the thing though. When I started digging into our client files, I found exactly what I expected. Page after page of generic service reports that sounded like they'd been written by robots. No real understanding of how these companies actually operated. No indication that anyone at Apex had ever set foot in a manufacturing facility or talked to someone who had grease under their fingernails. These weren't just any clients either. We're talking about Carl Stevens, who ran Stevens Steelworks, a company that employed 180 people and had been in business for 28 years. Jason Rodriguez's logistics operation, Rodriguez Freight Solutions, moved cargo for half the construction companies in 2 states. Anthony Parker ran Parker Construction Group, building everything from strip malls to industrial complexes. These guys knew their businesses inside and out, and they could spot consultant BS from a mile away. So I started doing something that apparently was revolutionary at Apex. I began treating these clients like the experienced professionals they were. When Carl mentioned during a routine quarterly check-in that equipment downtime was killing his numbers, I didn't just log it as a complaint and move on to the next agenda item. I asked if I could come take a look. Jennifer nearly choked on her coffee when I requested permission to visit a client site. We don't do field visits. That's inefficient use of billable hours. Handle it with a phone consultation. But I pushed back. Carl's got $1.8 million worth of fabrication equipment. If we can solve his downtime problem, he'll probably double his contract with us. 3 days later, I'm walking through Carl's facility in steel-toed boots and a hard hat, talking to his maintenance supervisor, looking at historical breakdown data, actually understanding what was going wrong. Here's what I found. Their preventive maintenance schedule was completely backwards for the type of heavy-duty equipment they were running. These weren't light manufacturing machines running 8-hour shifts. Carl's operation ran 14-hour days, 6 days a week. They had hydraulic press brakes that were 12 years old but built like tanks, plasma cutting tables that ran almost continuously, overhead cranes moving 4-ton steel beams all day long. The manufacturer's recommended maintenance schedule was designed for typical use, not the kind of industrial beating Carl's equipment took. I spent 2 weeks developing a predictive maintenance protocol based on actual usage data, not textbook recommendations. Temperature monitoring on critical hydraulic components, vibration analysis on the big presses, oil analysis, schedules that matched their production cycles rather than arbitrary calendar dates. We installed $7,500 worth of monitoring equipment and retrained their maintenance crew. Results: equipment downtime dropped 21% in the first quarter. That's real money. We're talking about $38,000 in avoided production losses. Carl was so impressed he signed a 3-year extension and referred 2 other fabrication companies to us. When I presented the results to Jennifer, you'd think she'd be celebrating. Instead, she pulled out her efficiency reports. Scott, you spent 32 billable hours on this project. Standard protocol is 12 hours maximum for operational assessments. Why did you spend triple the allocated time? She didn't care about the $38,000 savings. She didn't care about the 3-year contract extension. She didn't care about the 2 referrals. All she saw were efficiency metrics that didn't fit her spreadsheet formulas. Look, Jennifer, I said, Carl's paying us $160,000 a year now instead of $55,000. That's nearly triple our revenue from one client. Seems like a pretty good return on those extra 20 hours. That's not how I measure performance here, she replied, making a note on her tablet. Billable hour optimization is our primary success metric. Right there, I should have known how this was going to end. That was 2 years ago. Today, I'm writing this from my corner office at Morrison Industrial Partners, where I serve as senior partner and head of technical operations. The company has grown from 8 employees to 32, and we're booked solid through next year with clients who want real solutions, not PowerPoint presentations. Last month, I got a call that made me smile. Anthony Parker was expanding his construction operation and needed help setting up resource management for 2 new project teams. Scott, he said, I've got guys calling me asking who designed our scheduling system. Can Morrison handle bigger operations? 3 weeks later, we signed a $180,000 contract to implement our resource allocation methodology. Across 4 major construction firms, Anthony's original system has become a case study we use to win new business. That's what happens when you solve real problems, they multiply. Carl Stevens stopped by the office last week. His steel operation is running so efficiently now that he's considering a second shift. That predictive maintenance system you set up is still saving us money every month, he told me. My maintenance costs are down 31% from 2 years ago, and we haven't had an unplanned shutdown in 14 months. Carl's success led to contracts with 6 other fabrication companies. Word travels fast in manufacturing when someone figures out how to keep expensive equipment running. We are now the go-to firm for predictive maintenance implementation in the Great Lakes region. Jason Rodriguez recently bought 2 new trucks and hired 3 additional drivers. His cross-docking system is so effective that other logistics companies started copying it. Scott, I need you to help my brother-in-law set up something similar in Columbus, Jason said during our quarterly review. He's been watching my fuel costs drop for 2 years and finally wants to stop being jealous. That referral turned into a $95,000 project that spawned contracts with 4 more regional freight companies. Jason's warehouse redesign has become our template for logistics optimization. The personal satisfaction goes beyond the money, though that $265,000 base salary plus profit sharing has been life-changing for my family. Linda doesn't worry anymore about making mortgage payments or whether we can afford Ryan's college tuition. My son graduated from Michigan State last spring with an engineering degree and zero student loans. My daughter Michelle is a senior in high school now, already accepted to 3 universities with partial scholarships. She wants to study industrial design, says she's inspired by watching her dad solve, say, real-world problems. But the best part is what happened to the industry. Morrison Industrial's approach: detailed analysis, on-site problem solving, customized solutions, forced our competitors to step up their game. Clients started demanding better service from everyone. The consulting firms that adapted survived, the ones that didn't, well. Apex Industrial Solutions lasted exactly 18 months after I left. The staff cuts kept coming as clients abandoned ship. Jennifer's efficiency metrics looked great on paper right up until the company had no revenue to measure. The merger with Hartwell Consulting was really just Hartwell buying Apex's remaining contracts for pennies on the dollar. Jennifer wasn't retained after the merger. Through professional network contacts, I heard she struggled to find another consulting position. Turns out, hiring managers in industrial consulting started asking tough questions about actual client results, not just process optimization theories. Her Harvard MBA still looked impressive on paper, but she couldn't point to a single operational improvement she'd personally implemented. Last I heard, she'd taken a position with a mid-sized accounting firm managing their business process division. No client contact, just internal efficiency projects. Probably better suited to her skill set, honestly. Sometimes people find their right level when the market forces them there. Ronald Pierce, Apex's former CEO, reached out about 6 months ago. He'd started a new venture capital firm focused on manufacturing technology. Scott, I should have backed your approach from day one, he admitted during our lunch meeting. Watching Morrison's growth over the past 2 years, it's obvious you understood something the rest of us missed. He wanted Morrison to partner with his VC firm, helping evaluate manufacturing companies before investment. I need someone who can walk into a plant and tell me in 2 hours whether their operations are solid or just smoke and mirrors, he explained. We signed a consulting agreement that's brought in another $140,000 in revenue this year. The vindication felt good, but what felt better was proving that experience and practical knowledge still matter in a world increasingly obsessed with theoretical solutions and digital shortcuts. Kevin Morrison, our firm's founder, promoted me to senior partner last year with a 15% equity stake. Scott, you've basically built our entire service methodology, he said during the promotion meeting. Morrison Industrial Partners exists because you proved there's huge demand for consultants who actually understand operations. These days, I spend about half my time in the field solving problems and half mentoring our younger analysts. We've hired 3 recent engineering graduates, and I make sure they understand that spreadsheets are tools, not solutions. Get your hands dirty, I tell them. Talk to the maintenance supervisor. Ride with the forklift operator. Understand how things actually work before you start recommending changes. 2 of our junior analysts came from traditional consulting backgrounds where they'd been trained to process client requests as efficiently as possible. Learning our approach, detailed analysis, customized solutions, whatever time it takes to get it right, was like teaching them a new language. But watching their faces when they see their first major operational improvement